All right, fellas. It's been a while since we've done a tier list, so I thought it would be a fun idea to rank all the playable characters from the Treyarch Zombies maps.
This should be interesting. There's a lot to say about some of these characters.
I'm sure we'll get to hear plenty of hot takes from Donald like usual.
My takes are always correct. It's not my fault I'm the only genius among us.
Donald, did you just say among us? Kinda sus.
The only sus one here is Sleepy Creepy Joe.
Oh, come on, man. I didn't even do anything.
All right, you old sussy Bacchus, let's get started already. We have a lot to get through.
Now hold on a second, Barry. I don't see the unnamed Marines you play as on World at War Nacht and Verrucht.
Come on, Donald, you know they don't count. They're hardly characters at all.
Yeah, they're more forgettable than Kamala's entire time as vice president. I legitimately haven't heard about her doing a single thing for anyone.
I honestly only picked her because she lets me hit that.
Joe, I'd rather have sex with Michelle, than Kamala fucking Harris. But at least you're both actually adults, so I won't bully you too much.
Watch your damn mouth, fat man. Michelle would never touch your orange, crusty ass anyways.
Enough petty squabbles. Let's get this tier list started already. First up is the Ultimus Crew, starting with the iconic American badass, Tank Dempsey.
Ultimus Dempsey is easily one of the most fun characters to play as. His quotes are always hilarious, and Steve Bloom's performance really helps sell the character as this badass killing machine.
Sleepy must have taken his Adderall today. Joe's right for once. Ultimus Dempsey is easily one of the best characters in Zombies. His fourth wall breaks are funny and iconic.
While he is an awesome character, I do think the Ultimus Crew are a bit weaker in comparison to the Primus Crew due to the focus on character development for Primus in Black Ops 3. So I don't think Ultimus Dempsey is quite S tier. He's a solid A tier for me.
That's fair, Obama. Although Dempsey did get some pretty nice moments in Alpha Omega with Peter McCain and during Tag's ending, but I think I could agree on A tier.
Come on, guys, he's easily an S tier. He's just as great as Ultimus Richtofen. Joe, back me up here.
Sorry, Donnie, I'm with Obama and George on this one. He's not quite S tier for me either.
Fuck you, anti-American bastards. Fine, let's just move on to Nikolai.
Ultimus Nikolai? What are we thinking about this guy, gentlemen?
Like a lot of these characters, he is iconic, but I do think the whole drunk Russian thing gets old pretty fast, and it's basically his entire character.
Donald, surely Nikolai's your favorite character given his nationality.
Shut the hell up, Joe. I, for one, happen to agree with George. Ultimus Nikolai has aged pretty poorly, in my opinion. I still think he's a B-tier character, though.
Are you fools forgetting the ending of Go Rod Crovey? It was really cool to finally understand why he drank so much, and to learn all his wives were a made-up coping mechanism for him was a really nice insight into his character.
While that is true, Obama, I don't think that moment is enough to really bump him any higher than B tier, especially when we have so many amazing characters in comparison to him.
How does it feel, Barry? To have your opinion disregarded and ignored hurts, doesn't it?
Not really, Trump. Unlike you, I actually progressed mentally past the age of 10.
Let's just put him in B tier and move on.
Next up is Ultimus Takeo. Definitely one of the weaker Zombies characters, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's pretty lame. Most of his quotes aren't that funny, and the whole honor obsession and the Emperor Dick riding shtick is pretty basic and uninteresting.
Did you guys know Ultimus Takeo actually got violated by the giant spider on Zetsubo?
Joe, that theory is not true. There's no way Treyarch would put that in the game, you gullible buffoon.
Hey, you never know what Jason Blundell was into, George. Anyways, Ultimus Takeo is definitely a D-tier character for me. Nobody ever wants to play as him.
I have no issues with D tier. Hell, I would always reset my match when I played as him back in Black Ops 1.
That's fine with me too, guys.
Now here's a truly amazing character, Ultimus Richtofen.
I think we can all easily agree he's an S tier character. He's got some of the most hilarious and legendary quotes in Zombies, and his story arc from World at War to Black Ops 2 was epic.
He also invented the Wonder Waffle, one of the best wonder weapons ever.
He's literally a gay Nazi who wants to have sex with the zombies. His character is so absurd, yet it somehow works perfectly.
Those zombies are pretty sexy, though, not gonna lie.
Joe, you make me physically ill sometimes with the shit you say.
Let's just ignore Joe and put Richtofen in S tier where he belongs.
Next up is the original presidential zomboy himself, John F. Kennedy.
I mean, we have to put this guy in S tier, right? He really saved our asses recently during our Call of the Dead adventure.
Definitely, George. Even if that didn't happen, though, I think he's still an S-tier character based on his appearance in 5 alone. I mean, it's John F. fucking Kennedy and zombies.
True, Obama. Plus, I like when he says, need some beans for the chowder here.
I do wonder why he didn't remember playing 5 with us a couple months ago, though. There must be some multiverse bullshit afoot.
Do you guys think there are other versions of us 4 out there?
After all the crazy shit we've been through, I'd believe almost anything at this point. There could be other versions of us with entirely different personalities and interests.
I bet Donald is a dick in every universe.
Screw you, Sleepy. Enough of this sci-fi mumbo-jumbo. Let's put Kennedy in S tier and move on.
Next is Ronald McDonald.
Joe, it's Robert McNamara, not Ronald McDonald.
Joe's stupidity really knows no bounds. Anyways, what is there to say about McNamara? He's just a solid character with some memorable quotes, but he's clearly not as developed as most characters. I think B tier is appropriate.
I think that's being a little generous. He's only on this one map, and he's probably the worst of the 5 crew.
Yeah, he's honestly nothing special. I think C tier is more fitting since he's just an average character.
C tier works for me. Is that okay with you, Donald?
Yeah, whatever. I don't care that much about McNamara. Let's move on.
Next up, we have Tricky Dick himself, Richard Nixon.
Like JFK, we owe this guy for saving our lives, even if he was being kind of a pussy.
I love Richard Nixon. Me and him were actually pen pals in the 80s, and he even told me he thought I'd be president someday. Truly a smart man.
So in other words, Donald, you love Dick?
Shut the hell up, Joe, before I do to you what I did to Vince McMahon back in 2007.
I never really liked Nixon that much on 5, but he did manage to help us escape Call of the Dead. I think he should go in A tier for that, but no higher.
I'm cool with that, Georgie.
Yeah, Nixon just isn't as cool as Kennedy, so A tier is fine with me.
Finally, for the 5 crew, we have Fidel Castro.
Probably the second best character on 5 after Kennedy. It was cool seeing him as a villain in the campaign and then playing as him in Zombies.
True, George. Plus, he's got such a sexy beard.
What the fuck, Obama? Is Joe's creepiness rubbing off on you?
Don't listen to him, Barack. His beard is pretty sexy. That alone puts him in A tier.
Donald, I think we may need to find new friends, but A tier is okay with me.
If it'll help us move on from these two's weird beard fetish, I can accept A tier.
Next is the Call of the Dead crew, starting with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
S tier. She reminds me of my daughter Ivanka. Blonde and beautiful. I'd love to grab her by the...
Okay, that's enough, Donald. And she definitely is not S tier.
Yeah, she's not really that funny or memorable, although it was cool seeing a female playable character in Zombies for the first time.
I loved her as Daphne in the Scooby-Doo movies. Those movies are so funny.
Really, Joe? Scooby fucking Doo? Maybe they could solve the mystery of why you're such a creepy son of a bitch.
Got him, Donnie. Anyways, where do we propose she goes, fellas? I'm thinking C tier myself. She's just another average character.
You all clearly have no respect for women. How sad.
Yeah, because you're such a feminist, Donald. Now shut your yee ass up. She's going in C tier.
Next is Freddy Krueger himself, Robert Englund.
He's pretty funny. I'd say one of the better characters on this map.
This dude gave me so many nightmares when I saw him as Freddy Krueger. I had to sleep with my mommy and daddy for a month.
Joe, weren't you in your fucking 40s when those movies came out?
Are you really surprised, Donald? Anyways, I think he's slightly better than Sarah Michelle Gellar, but still not really one of the best characters either. I think he should go in B tier.
He's definitely the most fun character to play as on this map. With his wacky personality and quotes, I think B tier is pretty reasonable.
Sounds good to me.
Next up is Danny Trejo.
F tier. Who the hell would want to play as him in Zombies?
Donald, you racist bastard. You just don't like him since he's Mexican.
Wrong.
Oh yeah? Give us 3 legitimate reasons you don't like him.
Well, he's okay, I got nothing.
That's what we thought, you bigot. Now, I personally think he's another B tier character. Definitely the best from Call of the Dead.
He was so cool that they brought him back in Blackout in BO4. I think he should definitely go in B tier alongside Robert Englund.
I loved him in Spy Kids, even though those giant thumb dudes scared me. I think B tier is fine.
Donald, your opinion will not be taken into consideration here. He's going in B.
Whatever, let's just move on to Michael Rooker.
All right, what are we thinking about Michael Rooker, guys? Personally, he's probably my least favorite, but he is still badass.
Yeah, he's cool, but still pretty average to me. He's somehow able to shoot 3 shots from a double-barrel shotgun in the Call of the Dead intro cutscene, though, so that's dope.
I loved him in Guardians of the Galaxy. Such a fun movie.
Fuck your MCU bullshit, Joe. He was great in The Walking Dead.
His movies and TV shows aside, he is a pretty basic Zombies character in my opinion. How about we put him in C?
I think we can all agree to that. Oh no, the Victus Crew.
Well, at least we have Misty first. She's undeniably the best of the 4. I mean, have you guys seen her breasts?
So much for respecting women, Donald. But yeah, she's one of the only tolerable characters from the Victus Crew. She's definitely got some good quotes, and she's just a bit more unique, being one of the few female characters in Zombies.
Did you guys know Misty is actually Dempsey's daughter?
Shut the hell up, Joe, you noob. You just believe anything you see online, don't you?
I bet you think there's a bus route B on Transit 2, don't you, Joe?
Are you telling me there isn't?
Just ignore this geezer. I think Misty belongs in A tier due to how iconic she is, and the fact she's so much better than the rest of her crew.
I think she belongs in A tier because of her D cups.
All right, A tier she goes.
I think I'm gonna throw up. Marlton the fucking nerd.
Fuck this character, he's such a little bitch.
I think Marlton has less balls than Sleepy fucking Joe. I've never seen a more pathetic character in my life.
You guys are so mean. Marlton is just misunderstood. He's as cool as Edward Richtofen.
Joe, you take that back right fucking now!
Seriously, Joe, Marlton is so lame. All he does is bitch and cry. No wonder you like him.
This isn't up for debate. He's going in F tier whether Joe likes it or not.
What a load of malarkey. Not every character has to be some badass jokester. Marlton is a true reflection of the human condition, full of depth and nuances unlike any other Zombies character. You fools just don't understand him.
Yeah, whatever you say, Joe, let's just move on. Next up is Russman. This dude is literally an old homeless tweaker. He's funny as fuck.
He's definitely more entertaining than Marlton, that's for damn sure. His lore with Broken Arrow is pretty cool too.
He really reminds me of Joe. They both lost their minds and are easily confused and spew constant nonsense.
I do find him quite relatable, especially in the buried intro when his dementia starts to kick in. I've definitely had days like that. I think he should go in A tier.
That's a little too high, Joe. Personally, he's a C tier for me. He's really not that special of a character.
How about we split the difference and settle for B?
Let's do it, Obama.
Next up is Samuel Stuhlinger.
This guy had a lot of potential, but Treyarch really dropped the ball with the Victus Crew. Him being part of the Flesh and his connection to Richtofen was interesting, but they didn't really expand on it too much.
Yeah, and he's got some of the most annoying quotes ever. He's always talking about conspiracy theory bullshit. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a Trump supporter and believed in QAnon.
Shut the hell up, Joe. I wouldn't want this freak as a supporter of mine anyways. That said, he is the most important member of Victus. I think he belongs in B tier.
Given his lore significance and the fact he was improved a bit in the comics in Black Ops 4, I think I can settle for B tier.
I don't agree at all, but for the sake of moving on, I can live with it.
Now, gentlemen, it's time for one of the best crews ever, the Mobsters.
Billy Handsome is up first. Personally, he's my favorite of the mobsters other than Weasel. His quotes are great and Ray Liotta is legendary.
Rest in peace, Ray. But you're right, Donald. His character is full of depth and emotion. Even only being on this one map, these characters are still extremely memorable and better written than most Zombies characters.
He's definitely one of the most grounded and realistically written characters, too. He can't go any lower than A tier.
Makes sense to me. He's not quite S tier, but A tier is cool with me.
Honestly, what can we say about Sal and Finn that we didn't about Billy? They're all in the exact same situation and have pretty much the same emotions and reactions to what's happening.
That's true, George. They're pretty similar characters with just different backstories and reasons for being there. They're both still well written, though.
Yeah, it really just comes down to personal preference as to which one is best, but I don't think there's enough of a difference for them to be in different tiers. Sal and Finn should go in A with Billy.
That makes a lot of sense. Let's put them in A.
Next up is Albert Arlington, otherwise known as the Weasel.
He's the main character of Mob of the Dead and is therefore developed the most. His backstory as a failed comic artist is pretty neat, and his struggle to break the cycle in Mob is really cool and interesting.
He's got a pretty cool hat, too.
Way to contribute to the conversation, Joe. Anyways, Weasel is easily an S-tier character. Without him, the cycle would have never been broken, and Primus would have been stuck in Blood of the Dead, too.
I don't really think we need to waste too much time here. Everyone knows the Weasel is awesome. Let's drop him an S. Finally, we get to talk about Primus.
First up is Dempsey. He went from being a badass soldier to a badass soldier.
Yeah, he's probably the most similar to his Ultimus counterpart, just toned down a bit. He's still an amazing character, though. The ending cutscene of DE still gets me every time.
I do think he's a really strong character, but his quotes aren't as memorable to me as his Ultimus version. I think he should go in the same tier as him at A, though.
For once, you make a good point, Joe. In normal gameplay, I think Ultimus Dempsey is more fun to play as, but Primus Dempsey has more depth and story significance to make up for it. A tier is reasonable.
Sounds good to me.
Next, we have Primus Nikolai.
Honestly, I didn't really care for him that much in Black Ops 3, but he really got a glow up after Blood of the Dead when he became the leader.
Yeah, it was really cool to see Nikolai taking on the leader role. He was prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice for the good of humanity, unlike Richtofen.
Kind of fucked up how he just poisoned his friends, though.
Yeah, but the story had to end, Joe, as sad as it was. Nikolai went out as a true hero and saved his friends' souls as well as the entire universe. He deserves S tier, no doubt.
Yeah, I don't really think anyone's going to argue against that. He is definitely one of the best Zombies characters due to his story significance alone. Next up is Takeo. What a complete and total improvement over his Ultimus counterpart.
Yeah, he went from one of the worst and most annoying characters to one of the most badass and fun in Zombies.
The Origins intro cutscene alone made him one of the coolest characters ever. There's nothing like watching him kill a bunch of freak bags with his sword.
His character design is really awesome too, and his interactions with his other self on Zetsubo were really emotional. He's easily S tier too, in my opinion.
I can honestly accept that due to just how much better he is than his Ultimus version.
I'm okay with him in S tier. Let's keep going. Next is Primus Richtofen. I think we all know he's S tier already.
Yeah, he's probably the best character in Zombies. So many great moments. I mean, the Blood of the Dead ending still makes me cry.
Same, Donald. One of my favorite moments is when he shot Ultimus Richtofen in the Giants cutscene. That was so hype back in 2015.
I like when he said, "I'm sorry, I don't speak Japanese." Also, have you guys seen that hot picture of Ultimus and Primus Richtofen kissing?
Jesus, Joe, can't you ever talk like a normal person? Anyways, Primus Richtofen truly was the nicest one, and we will never forget him. Let's put him in S tier.
Now onto the Shadows of Evil crew, starting with Jessica Rose.
Fuck this bitch. Every time I have to hear, "Hey, you" in the Shadows intro, I want to cut my damn ears off.
All right, Donald, that's a bit of an overreaction to like 1 second of dialogue. But yeah, she's not really that amazing of a character, but she probably is my favorite of the Shadows crew.
I think she's pretty cool and is one of the better female characters in Zombies, but she's not a top-tier character either, though. I think she belongs in B.
She's an F tier for me. She reminds me of Stormy fucking Daniels.
That's way too low, Donald. How about we compromise at C tier?
Yeah, fine, whatever. Let's just move on to the next character.
Next up, Jackie fucking Vincent.
I really don't like this character. He's just so damn annoying to me and doesn't have many memorable quotes outside him screaming his own name.
Of course, the Democrat hates the cop character. Are you going to say ACAB next, Joe?
I gotta agree with Joe, Donald. I think he's pretty forgettable other than a few quotes.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. He's a true hero in his community and keeps the streets safe from the violence of the radical left. He's A tier.
Donald, he's literally a crooked cop. Why do you think he's in Shadows in the first place? I think he's a decent character, though. How about we all settle for B tier?
That's fine with me, Obama. Next up is Nero Blackstone.
Jeff Goldblum absolutely kills it in this role. His quotes and delivery are so meme-worthy. Probably one of the best parts of Shadows of Evil.
Really? I find him annoying as hell. He sounds like he smoked a fuck ton of crack.
Don't knock it till you try it, George. But yeah, I love this dude too, Donald. He's funny as hell and is way better than the rest of the Shadows characters. Easily an A tier for me.
You're alone on this one, George. He's an awesome character. Let's put him in A tier. Next up is Floyd Mayweather.
It's Floyd Campbell, Joe, but I honestly don't even blame you for forgetting. This character sucks.
Seriously, I can't even think of a single quote from him. He's just so boring.
Sounds like it's unanimous that this guy sucks ass. I think he should go in F tier. I'd rather not waste too much time with him.
No objections here. Put him in F.
Now onto the Chaos crew from Black Ops 4. starting with Scarlet Rhodes.
She's decent. She kind of sucked at first on 9 and Voyage of Despair, being condescending and bitchy to the other characters, but she improved quite a bit in Ancient Evil.
It's a shame the Chaos story ended so quickly. These characters could have really grown into being top tier with enough time and maps.
Yeah, but as it stands, she's just a pretty bland character overall. Nothing really that special about her, and she doesn't hold a candle to Misty.
How about we put her in C then?
Sounds good to me.
Next up, we have Diego Nikolai.
Another okay character. He's got some funny quotes, but he's also pretty one-dimensional.
Yeah, all the Chaos characters have the same issue of just not being given enough time to truly develop into anything unique. Diego isn't bad, but he's nothing we haven't seen before.
He reminds me of my favorite cartoon. Go, Diego, go.
Joe, that's for fucking toddlers.
Just ignore him. I think Diego should go in C tier. He's no better or worse than Scarlet.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Let's drop him in C tier. Next up is Bruno. What are we thinking?
He's only the slightest bit more interesting than the rest due to his dark alter ego and being under the control of the cult. But all of that is meaningless since the Chaos story is dead.
Yeah, unfortunately, we'll never get to see how these characters would have developed, so I don't really think we can rank them too highly. Like the other characters, he's not bad, but just mediocre. Another C tier for me.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I haven't really played much of the Chaos maps anyways. Next up is Joshua Shaw.
Who the hell is that? His name is Stanton Shaw, Joe.
This dude's like the dollar store version of Richtofen TBH. He's eccentric and weird and is responsible for creating the elixirs in the Chaos story.
I like him. He's probably the best performed Chaos character in terms of voice acting, and he has the funniest quotes of the 4. I'd put him in B tier myself.
If any Chaos character should go that high, it's definitely Shaw. I honestly really wish Chaos would come back so we could see him again.
Sounds good to me. We're almost finished with this list, fellas.
The Dead of the Night Crew. All of them are so forgettable and annoying.
Yeah, they're pretty terrible. Gideon's all right, though. It was cool seeing Kiefer Sutherland return since he voice-acted Roebuck in World at War.
Plus, he's a rootin' tootin' cowboy. I think he's pretty neat, guys.
There's no way this dude can go higher than C tier, in my opinion. He may be the best of the Dead of the Night Crew, but that's really not saying much.
I'm not going to argue with that. Let's put him in C and move on. Next is whoever this bitch is supposed to be.
Her name is Madame Morella, and she sucks more than Ron DeSantis. The Dead of the Night Crew's existence is a bigger tragedy than 9/11.
That's fucked up, Donald. She really does suck, though. Even the celebrity voice cast doesn't save the bland writing for these characters. I think she's an F tier, a complete waste of time.
I don't really have any thoughts on her, so whatever you guys decide is cool with me.
The fact I couldn't even remember her name is a testament to how awful she is. F tier is where she belongs.
Next up is the Brigadier. This Santa Claus-looking motherfucker is pretty mid.
Saying he's mid is being generous, George. This dude's voice sounds like he's gargling on someone's balls constantly.
I find this dude extremely annoying. His voice really gets on my nerves.
He reminds me of Donald, fat and annoying. I'd put him in D tier.
Joe, don't make me come kick your sleepy ass.
Enough bickering? Let's just put him in D and move on to the last character.
Finally, we have Godfrey. Not a terrible character, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's the most tolerable, only because he doesn't spew loud and obnoxious bullshit like the rest of the characters.
He's kind of like you, Joe, with his dark Godfrey alter ego. But I agree, he isn't terrible. I'd put him in the same tier as Gideon.
That's cool with me too. Let's drop him in C and finally finish this tier list.
That took a while. I don't think this tier list is too bad myself, though.
I know a lot of people were requesting this, so I'm glad we finally got it finished.
Say, fellas, how about now we all go hop in a game of Left 4 Dead 2? It's been a while since we've played it.
Sure, Donald. Sounds like fun.
All right, I'll get a lobby going. Everyone join and we'll get a match started. President Obama here. Thank you all for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please consider leaving a like and subscribing if you did. I'd like to plug my Patreon and Discord server quickly. Both are linked in the description. A quick shout out to all my current patrons here. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you all once again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. God bless.